Hello, my name is Stephen Isles. My father, the male pictured behind me, is Queensland Police Senior Sergeant Michael Isles. My father, Michael, disappeared while on duty on the 23rd of September 2009 after 36 years in the Queensland Police Service. There are many questions that remain around my father's disappearance. The reason I'm making this recording is I, like many Queenslanders, am extremely passionate about the future of Queensland. I also, like many Queenslanders and also other Australians, am quite disillusioned with modern day populist politics. Concerningly, we have seen transparency, openness, accountability erode over many recent years. Currently we see Labor in Queensland holding minority government. In part, this was brought about by current Premier of Queensland, Anastasia Palaszczuk, cutting deals. Pledge was made by Anastasia Palaszczuk to independent member for Nicklin, Peter Wellington. On the 5th of February 2015, Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk authored a letter to Mr. Wellington, very formally structuring what she pledged in order to gain leadership and form government. One of the varying things the Premier provided was assurance that Labor was committed to principles of integrity and accountability. In particular, made a commitment to what have been referred to as the Fitzgerald Principles. The Fitzgerald Principles, for those who aren't aware, mainly in 4 sets. Number 1, govern for the peace, welfare and good government of the state. Number 2, make all decisions and take all actions, including public appointments, in the public interest without regard to personal, party, political or other immaterial considerations. Number 3, treat all people equally without permitting any person or corporation special access or influence. And number 4, to promptly and accurately inform the public of its reasons for all significant or potentially controversial decisions and actions. In closing, in the letter authored by the Premier to independent member for Nicklin, Peter Wellington, the Premier concludes, "I am committed to restoring integrity and accountability to the Queensland Government. Further, any government I will lead will be focused on consensus and consultation rather than the division of the past 3 years." Concerningly, we are finding the Labor government in Queensland off to a very slow start. We've heard a lot of rhetoric, a lot of talk, a lot of positive spin. However, when I go to the polling booth, and I'm sure many other people watching this recording would concur, that is there anything that really sets the two major parties apart? I'm a great believer in philosophy. One particular philosophy I coined myself in 2012 was strength is measured by resilience and composure in the face of weakness and adversity. Being extremely concerned by the diminishing standards of accountability and transparency in Queensland, I am part of a set who have created a Facebook page, Queensland Unites, against erosion of transparency and public accountability. Although it is a long-winded title, it is very appropriate. Sir George Berkeley was a great 18th century philosopher. One philosophy he was extremely famous or well known for was esse et percipi. To be is to be perceived. No one could have ever foreseen that such a philosophy would become mantra for modern day politics. We are more driven by maintaining public perception than we are by being transparent and honest. Recently in Queensland, we are witnessing similar trends to that pre-Fitzgerald inquiry. Public confidence in our government, public confidence in our Queensland Police Service at the lowest levels they've been in more than 30 years. Government typically operates in 30-year cycles. I'm extremely concerned that it is time. It is time for a Royal Commission into the Queensland Police Service, discipline measures within the Queensland Police Service, and also oversight mechanisms, including the Crime Corruption Commission and the Parliamentary Crime Corruption Commission. We need to remove completely police from being involved in investigating police. It simply is a measure that cannot work. We need independence in oversight. Currently we're seeing allegations that continue to roll on police brutality at the Gold Coast. This is not limited to the Gold Coast. I am not anti-police, nor are my family. We are pro-professionalism. I want young police and young people that aspire to join the Queensland Police Service to be able to hold their head up and join and conduct their duties with pride, not become disillusioned soon after joining, saying, hey, this is not what I expected it to be. Police culture is largely what this comes down to. Police culture is what Commissioner Ian Stewart avoids talking about. Police culture is what the government does not want to address. Adversities in police culture, let me tell you, are very real. I was a police officer in the Northern Territory for almost 8 years. My father for 36. We met our fair share of adversities in police culture. My father was targeted through extreme bullying based on cronyism, which did in fact manifest to corruption. Concerningly, the one thing government does not want is to call an inquiry to something they do not already have the answers to. One thing I've used many times is the phoenix. The phoenix, I'd like to share a thought on that, is a bird of flames rising or emerging from the ashes. It's believed to have originated from Egypt and is said to represent the spirit of Osiris, a figure central to Egypt, belief of life after death. It is time, Premier. It is time, people, to stand up and unite. It is time to get behind this Facebook page, to show your support, to get outside your bubble and say, hey, it may not affect me now, but as it stands, we are in a very dangerous predicament. And if we don't do something soon, we will never see a Royal Commission again. The time is now. The rumblings are afoot. We've got the Boiler Room Commission of Inquiry set to hand down its findings this month in southeast Queensland. We have police being stood down every other day. Concerningly, the allegations that roll on police brutality at the Gold Coast, we've recently witnessed hierarchy of the Queensland Police Service blame young police officers. You can't blame or point the finger or try to hang young police officers out as the reason without looking at the people who provide the training. Another concern I have, a copy of the article that I hold up hush on alleged police thieving pertains to an inspector, a commissioned officer, that has now been getting investigated for approaching 2 years over allegedly pilfering $28,000 from Variety Club. $28,000 spent on his own personal dealings while he was involved in fundraising for Variety Club. This senior police officer was first spoken of in the Townsville Bulletin in mid to late 2014. He has not once been stood down, nor has he been named, nor have the Queensland Police Service or the Crime and Corruption Commission that have carried the investigation been forthcoming with any unprompted statements regarding this matter. $28,000, a commissioned officer. It is on good authority, not confirmed 100%, but on good authority, that this commissioned officer has been offered opportunity to pay the monies back. Does this mean that although forensic accounting can uncover that this $28,000 was in fact obtained by benefit through deception, if he pays the money back, we don't hear any more? Do the public not hear this person's name? Do you want an inspector who may well have been involved in stealing from a charity in the Queensland Police Service to be the next Assistant Commissioner in the Queensland Police? Concerningly, if it is accurate that it is the Crime and Corruption Commission that is providing this inspector with the opportunity to pay it back, I rest my case more on esse et percipi, to be is to be perceived. Is it so that public perception in this instance, given that the trust on a commissioned senior officer is greater than public perceiving that the trust bestowed on such level would be betrayed through ripping money from a charity that funds children? I'm not looking for nobility, but I'm looking to get something started. There are many spot fires creating rumblings. There are reasons our family will take further action in coming months on my father's matter. Its currency is there. The Parliamentary Crime and Misconduct Commissioner that reviewed the CMC investigation into my father was in fact Alan McSporan. When a complaint was raised to Alan McSporan by myself and my father's solicitor regarding concern for the CMC investigation into my father, Alan McSporan gave it nothing but lip service, denying my family natural justice through denial of principles of natural justice. The three main principles, as per Queensland Government, being right to be heard, procedural fairness, and unbiased decider. Alan McSporan, in conducting the integrity of his office as Parliamentary Crime and Misconduct Commissioner, was duty bound to speak to all parties involved when a complaint was raised to form his opinion. He didn't do this. He spoke to the Crime and Misconduct Commission, the CMC, the now Crime and Corruption Commission, and that was it. He handed down his opinion. So he's denied the right to be heard, he's denied procedural fairness, and unequivocally, he has not been able to give an unbiased or impartial decider. Concerningly, on the 1st of September 2015, we saw Alan McSporan, previously Temporary Parliamentary Crime and Misconduct Commissioner, appointed as the new chairman of the Crime and Corruption Commission. Alan McSporan was Parliamentary Crime and Misconduct Commissioner under the Bligh Labor government. Is it simply a coincidence that under the new Labor government, Alan McSporan is appointed the chairman of the Crime and Corruption Commission. In reading and researching philosophy, another by Craig D. Lounsborough, I want to stand on belief that great things are the product of ordinary people who are made great when they stand. Police culture is something that we cannot ignore. It's something that people cannot truly understand until they've lived it. Something that even police may not truly understand if they haven't been affected by it. It's a vicious beast. My father was victim of extreme bullying in the Queensland Police Service. 18 months from retirement, all he wanted to do was walk out and retire with dignity. As we're seeing at the moment, police are extremely good at protecting and responding to calls from members of the public. However, police, through police culture or adversities in police culture, are usually very poor at speaking out for or protecting themselves. Much of police culture is based on having enough mud on each other, so if shit hits the fan, the other person can't speak out because they'll take you down with them. A mantra that's not only associated with management of the Queensland Police Service is surround yourself with incompetence or competence that you can control. You don't want someone in that culture that may be perceived to have more integrity or show you up. It's concerning from here that we need a way forward. We need to remove police from investigating themselves. That includes being seconded to the Crime and Corruption Commission. We need a crime watchdog that is independent of government. This is a discussion that could go on or around in circles for many, many hours. However, I just want people to realise that it is important now more than ever to get involved, to be a spectator, perhaps involved in social media, nothing more. But being an armchair critic, just like barracking for the state of origin in NRL, yelling at the screen will not change anything. It is very real. It has the ability to affect you or your children. It's time to stake what's on the line for you and your family and our future generations. Stand united. Get involved. Get on board social media. Get involved with letters to the editor. Have a look at what's going on. Follow our Facebook page, Queensland Unites Against Erosion of Transparency and Public Accountability. Good intentions in politics are simply not enough. We are done with band-aid solutions. We have heard the Premier of Queensland, Anastasia Palaszczuk, the Police Minister, Joanne Miller, announcing internal reviews that will be conducted of the Queensland Police Service in separate areas by themselves. Will we see the outcomes of the investigations, or is this simply just something that is done to avoid the need for an inquiry? Premier, I look directly in the lens of this camera. I speak to you. I call you out to stand up and stand on the foundation that you laid with independent member for Nicklin, Peter Wellington. Restore public accountability. Restore integrity in Queensland. Queensland is calling on you. Queensland is pleading with you to do what is right, to call an inquiry into the Queensland Police Service, discipline and oversight mechanisms, restore public confidence, give the people the ability to have greater trust in our Queensland Police Service, give the police the ability to hold their heads up high, make it a profession that people don't pity. Do what is right, Premier Palaszczuk. It is time to regain control, look outside of populist government and do what a statesman-like leadership would do. Get involved, stop looking for band-aid solutions, stop looking for diplomatic evasion. I, for one, am sick of watching double standards. I understand that in coming months, the Queensland Government, as they've done before through the Queensland Police Management, when my father disappeared, the day after my father disappeared, my family was addressed from Superintendent Noel Powers. He said to my family at the back of the house in Air Queensland, "Don't speak to the media. We will control the media." Our family was shocked and dismayed. All we could concern ourselves with is not about politics, answers. We wanted answers. Anything that could help in locating my father. The very next day, Superintendent Noel Powers met me at the back of the Air Police Station. He had a smoke in one hand, his right foot was leaning on the rear bumper of a police-marked sedan. He leant forward and he said to me, "Steve, don't speak to the media and your mother will never endure financial pressures again." I was floored by this statement. In coming days, the consensus of our family was to speak to media because we were looking for whatever answers we could find. 3 weeks after we spoke to the media, my mother, in my absence, was served with paperwork to revoke my firearms licence based on allegation from the Queensland Police Service that I was no longer a fit and proper person to hold a firearms licence because I had allegedly threatened to shoot Queensland Police Commissioner Bob Atkinson. I was gobsmacked by this, deeply saddened, but also concerned that I'd been bricked, didn't know a way out. I challenged the Queensland Police. It took me 10 months to get the matter to the Queensland Civil Administrative Tribunal. Current Commissioner Ian Stewart was Deputy Commissioner at the time. He wrote a letter to my Commissioner, the Northern Territory Police Commissioner, John McRoberts, who was sacked in 2015 for interfering with police investigation. I challenged the Queensland Police Service, and by the time we got to the Queensland Civil Administrative Tribunal, it took 20 minutes to actually defeat their allegation, have my firearms licence reinstated, and for the registrar, Richard Oliver, to exclaim he was not even prepared to entertain the allegation that I had threatened to shoot the Queensland Police Commissioner because it was entirely fabricated and not true. Our family has stood the test of the challenge of being discredited, having mud slung to attempt to impugn our good character, to simply gain absolute control of public perception. Unfortunately, this is not what the police do to harbour an individual. They do this as a secular motion to block negative criticism of their outfit. I was disgusted by this. It didn't stop there. However, our family are objective. We are not emotive. We've been extremely patient and thorough over the last 6 years. I stand before you now as a civil advocate. I will do my darndest to ensure we get our Royal Commission. I will stand resiliently. I will make sure the intestinal fortitude I put forward, the steeliness I stand with when I speak, the Premier will not shut down with allegations it's emotive or discredit me through whatever actions because my backside is clean. Premier, you will not find a skerrick of anything. The most you will find is a couple of minor speeding fines that I've got to wait until August 2016 before I can obtain my Justice of the Peace qualification. I am prepared, Premier Palaszczuk, and I express a willingness to sit down and speak. I will engage. I will be professional. I'm not the only one that needs a Royal Commission in Queensland. The people of Queensland need a reset. The people of Queensland need to see that you are true in wanting to restore integrity. I had someone say to me about 3 days ago that they raised in writing a question with their local member. And they said to me, Steve, all too hard. They never got a response. This is how the beast, the public service, operate. We are not going away, Premier Palaszczuk. Everyone who is watching this recording, please note that I am sincere, I am passionate about people. I see some of what I'm putting forward here as a community service. It's your choice to judge for yourself. On face value, my honesty, my integrity, and the validity of my stance. My father's situation, although it happened a number of years ago, the police culture and some of those people involved still remain. It has not stopped. It has not gone away. Assistant Commissioner Paul Wilson has done inadvertently a great thing. He's enabled our family to now stand up and for the first time table in a digestible format to lay people a great example of the adversities in police culture. I will become target for raising this concern, but I won't walk away. The Labor government, whichever government, need to stand testament, true to what their commitments are, true to the people. Let's move forward together. I ask you to share this recording as many times as you can. I ask you to get behind a movement, to use the power of people to move this forward. Helen Keller said it so well when she said, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. If you can take a moment to peruse social media, Facebook pages, email me if you wish. Send a message, I'll respond. The administration of this Facebook page will respond. Together, if we stand, I want many thousands of people to stand up. Whether we agree with the VLAD laws or not, the vicious, lawless association disestablishment laws imposed by the LNP government, which are not that dissimilar from legislation drafted under the previous Labor government. However, the support was not there. Now, over $129 million has been spent to construct these laws. Not one person has been convicted. Whether you agree or disagree with these laws, they've been trumpeted, they've been marketed at targeting organised crime. Organised crime can be broken down, including that is involved under the very blue uniform, the people we need to trust in. We saw independent member for Nicklin, Peter Wellington, stand strong, dead against VLAD laws. He's gone quiet. Is it because deals have been done with the Labor government that have made him go quiet? He's now Speaker. Either way, we need a reset, we need change, and we need change imminently. We are standing, Premier Palaszczuk, as long as it takes to break through this brick wall. Someone said to me once, a superior officer, in the Northern Territory Police Force. He actually said to me, "Steve, you may well be right, but you're going to have to break through a brick wall to get anywhere." Premier, let me tell you, this is that brick wall and we will break through. Thank you, and please share this recording and get on board. Queensland unites against erosion of transparency and public accountability.